Hey, Mark Chesnutt.
Hey.
What's up? How you been?
Hey, brother.
You good?
Oh, I've been doing pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, it's kind of what everybody has to say now. Like, I'm doing good, but the world's not doing its best, so we got to put that in perspective,
Yeah, it's really weird because this is usually, we're usually getting real busy right now.
Yeah, I was reading a thing about that when you touring. It said you worked 12 months a year for almost 30 years and never took any time off. So this has been an oddly nice break for you.
Well, yeah, I've enjoyed being home, and the most of all, the best thing about it is I haven't had to travel. After all those years on the road, I'm going on 30 years now, and it'll be 30 years coming up in June, I think. But anyway, I might be wrong about that. But no, I haven't taken much time to speak of off in all that time, and I've traveled every week. And I live in Beaumont, Texas, and my band and my bus and everything is all up in Nashville. So every week I'm having to drive. I drive an hour and a half or more, depending on the traffic, and jump on a plane and fly to Nashville and hop on my bus. Sometimes I'm lucky if we plan here in Texas somewhere, the bus comes to my house and picks me up and brings me home.
Wow, you have to fly to Nashville basically every weekend that you're touring?
Oh yeah, just about. It's that's what I'm tired of, because it's about, like I said, hour and a half, depending on traffic, and then you got to mess with the airports and all that stuff. I've done that for so long. This kind of nice break to not have to go anywhere. But I'll tell you what, I miss being on stage. I miss my band. I miss my crowd, my audience, most of all.
Well, I was listening to your new song, I Found Another You, and She Hates Me Too. And I tell you, I listened to it and I said, I got to get Chesnutt on the show, and I got to get Chesnutt on the countdown. And so tell me about this song and why you picked it.
Yeah, there's a cool little story about this. It's I was working on a album project a few years ago, and we cut 2 tracks, and we laid down 2 songs. I did all the vocals on them. Since I don't get to Nashville very often, I was right in the middle of summer touring, so we laid the basic tracks, and then right after that, the next day I did all the vocals, and so we had all that in the can, and we've been needing to put something new out here. So I hadn't had nothing new since Tradition Lives album came out, and so said let's put it out on our own little label, or whatever. I don't even know if you call them labels anymore, but so we finished it up. They mixed it, mastered it, and I always thought it was such a great song. I hate that I was hating that it was just sitting there. I wanted to put it on Tradition Lives, but for some reason it didn't happen. But the 2 songs I recorded are really cool. They're up tempo, and kind of funny, and they're country. That's what I like about it. And I'm so glad people are finally going to get to hear all this stuff.
Yeah, me too. I was looking at some stuff. This is by the numbers. I'm going to read you some of these numbers. You have 14 number ones, 23 top 10 singles, over 12 million albums sold. You were one of the most played country artists of the 90s. What song do you think defined, not your song, because I would go with Bubba, but I would say, what song for you defined the 90s outside of your music?
Outside of my music?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I would have to, that has to be Garth Brooks. Everything he did in the 90s was an inspiration to everybody else. And, I think my favorite is The Thunder Rolls. I don't know. It's hard to say. The Thunder Rolls or to Tomorrow Never Comes.
Oh, that's my favorite
There's
one.
just-
If Tomorrow Never
there's so
Comes.
many.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. I had the opportunity in the early 90s when I was just starting out, and he was just catching fire. And I got to tour with him quite a bit. And that's when he was playing, smaller venues. And so we got to hang out quite a bit, and he's a great guy.
Do you remember a specific moment when you realized that you were famous, where you're like, whoa, life has just changed?
When I was famous?
Yeah.
It got kind of crazy there at the very beginning. I didn't think it would happen that fast, but you read all these stories and hear all these stories about how people take so long to catch on. I got lucky. Man, I tell you, I was very, very lucky. I was blessed is what I was, because I had the song, Too Cold at Home, just took off. I didn't even have to do a radio tour. They released it, and radio jumped all over it. Next thing I know, I'm out on the road almost 200 days a year. It was crazy, man. It scared me, really, overwhelmed me. I was always playing in the honky tonks around here in Beaumont, and I always packed them in. We always had a big crowd every night, but I was not prepared for what was coming. I came with that song.
Back in the day when you covered I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, did Aerosmith ever reach out to you after you covered it?
Yeah, well, not really reach out to me, but I had all access passes for Aerosmith. I'm a big Aerosmith fan, love them. But I got tickets. All access passes and all for their show there in Nashville. I guess I can't remember what year it was, but I was backstage. They let us come back there, and they were real nice to us and said, "Hey, not the band, but the managers and stuff." And they said, "Well, y'all can park back there." Had parking for us, and a friend and I went, and so we went in there, and he said the guys are doing interviews and all right now. He said, "Y'all come in here and catering, get you something to eat." And we walked backstage there to the catering and sit down, and of course I go looking for beer. Of course you can't drink backstage because there's signs everywhere, absolutely no alcohol backstage. And so we were just sitting there talking, and all of a sudden I hear this loud voice, and I know exactly who it is, singing, "I don't want to close my eyes," just at the top of his lungs. And I turn around, and it's Steven Tyler walking towards me, and he's got his arms spread out like for a hug, and he comes up to me. I got my hand stuck out to shake his hand, and he just bear hugs me, and he's singing at the top of his lungs right in my ear. Can you imagine that? And so we stood there and talked, and for about 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I don't remember a thing he said or I said. It's a big blur to me. All I remember was saying, he said something about what are they going to do with us old guys? He said, "Man, I'm doing better now." He just had throat surgery. He said, "I got a new girlfriend." He was just talking. I probably didn't say 2 or 3 words. But that was so cool for him to do that, and that was the very first time I met him, and he acted like we were old friends. He was talking to me about stuff like we've been knowing each other for a long time.
I got a couple more things to talk to you about. I want to mention this first. The new EP, 6 songs, will be out in August, but you may get it out in July. Is that true?
I don't know. The last I heard, it was set for August, but it may, if we can get it. I've got one more thing I want to do for this album, one more special thing. that I want to do. I don't know if I'll have time to get it done, but I'd like to get it out as soon as possible.
Your son Casey's getting out of the Marines this month. Is that right?
That's right.
Is he going to move back to Beaumont?
He's going to move back here, and he's got to go to the police academy and then go to work for the Beaumont Police Department.
Man, tell him we said we appreciate him.
Oh, I will. It's great. I'm so proud of him, man. It's having a son that's in any branch of the military. It's a great feeling.
Well, I'm going to ask you one final question. Does anyone just call you the Nut or Mr. Nut?
Do what now?
Does anyone ever call you just the Nut or Mr. Nut?
Oh, I don't believe anybody's ever called me Mr. Nut. I've been called Nut. A lot of people call me Nut. Hey, Nut, what's going on, Nut?
Just Nut, but not Mr. Nut. Okay, just asking. You never know what nicknames are going to happen there. Well, listen, Mark, good to talk to you. I've always been a fan. We've been able to see each other a couple times in real life, and I wanted to highlight this new song to my listeners on both my radio show and on the Countdown show that runs all weekend all over the country. So I appreciate that, and good luck, and let me know whenever this record gets ready.
Well, you'll know, I guarantee you, and I sure appreciate you playing it, man. It really means the world to me. I'm so excited about it.
All right, Mr. Nut.
Thank you, Bobby.
All right, see you soon. Hey guys, it's Bobby Bones. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, subscribe and then go check it out. A lot of artists, a lot of songwriters, a lot of music. Welcome to the BobbyCast channel.